Okay, so in this second video we're going to look at your side-by-side columns, columnar report, report number 3. And first thing is to refresh, so click anywhere in the field, right click and refresh. You have an option of pivot table and there is a refresh button up here, which is that one there, so you can press that if you like the idea of using the icons there. So the first thing we do is go to the bottom right hand corner and see that the figure is the same as we had in the first summary report. So we can click back to report 2, 28013065, 28013065. So we know we've got the right figures. Very important, obviously. So what have we got here? Difficult to show on this. There's a lot of columns, as you know. So we've got the date and the folio number and the description as you've typed into the Cashbook, and across the top here all the budget numbers in budget number order with the budget description. So each month you get a list, and then in this case we have a line across at the end of January, then a list of transactions, a line across at the end of February, and then in the last month you'll get the grand total for all the ones above. So it's exactly as you have in your original spreadsheet. Now, as I say, there's quite a lot on here, so it looks difficult to read. So when you originally run this report, some of the column headings will be extra wide, some will be narrow. So what I tend to do is, I know the biggest numbers will be in the grand total on the right hand side. So if I click into there and I go across with all the numbers and I'm on that column heading D in this case, hold down Shift and it'll highlight all the columns for me. If I move back across to where the grand totals are and I take the right hand side of that column, that little drag handle there, I can either make it big or small. If I make it just the right size for the biggest numbers, which will be the numbers in the grand total, then all of these columns will be wide enough for the figures, and that makes them the same size. So we do that. The other thing I like to do is, if you take the headings, there's 1, 2, 3 rows of headings here. If you go in your Home tab and you say, I want these all to be, instead of being on the left hand side or up and down, I like them in the middle in terms of vertically, and then there's another button here for centering. So you get all the text in the middle of the cell, and it's much easier to read, it looks more professional, and you've done it all at once for all those columns. You can then look at the descriptions, and if you think the description column's a bit wide, click at the top of C, which is the descriptions, that highlights the whole column. And then if you say wrap text, even if you narrow that column, if you adjust, so click on the top left hand, so that all the rows and columns are highlighted, and then you just find a row where you can go and you have a bar and an arrow up and down. And that just means you're between, and if you just double tap there, C and wrap, so it wants to wrap, and in this case it has. If you see there, it's a higher column than the one above, and it's brought all the description in here. So we've got a narrower column with all our description as we want. You might even want it narrower than that. So we've now got a layout which you understand. We've got March total, March transactions, we've got figures starting to show up, pay, and let's have a look, cleaning materials, So telephone, broadband and internet. So everything, those codes that you entered when you put them in the cash book, allow it all to be arranged under these column headings automatically. So it doesn't matter how many accounts you've got, how many budget codes, they'll spread all the way across, grand total on the right hand side, all added down to the bottom. So that's our columnar listing across the columns, your standard layout. So that's video number 2.